Good morning and welcome to Morning Mindset. I'm Michelle Dale coming to you from Virtual CoWorking Space, and this is a place where we help virtual assistants to level up in their business, lifestyle and mindset. And today is the start of a new topic, and it's so interesting because usually I don't think too much about the topics, and generally they're just sort of presented to me at some point, sometimes in the middle of the week, sometimes right in the last minute, sometimes the night before, and sometimes even on the morning. But we were literally getting like to 2 minutes for us to go on here. That's why my announcement was so late on WhatsApp. We were literally getting to 2 minutes and I was thinking, oh my God, I have not been given what I'm supposed to talk about this week. And the interesting thing is, I think I was given it, but very roundabout, and I'll explain this. Anyway, the topic of this week is very much about taking a break, but for certain specific reasons. It's really, really interesting. I've had a weekend where I sort of got triggered by a couple of things, and it was things like, it wasn't really triggered, but like sometimes on social media, like I'm super detached from social media. You will generally never, unless it's a positive comment, you will never see me writing any negative comments, and you will never see me trying to, I don't want to say help other people, but trying to, when people are writing a negative comment, I will generally avoid that completely. And little things happened this weekend where I saw somebody write a really negative comment, and I wrote a very, very nice comment back to that person, like very helpful, very understanding, and I got a sort of attack back, and then it made me realize, like, oh, that's why I don't engage with these people. But it made me really think about things like awareness and assumption and things like this, because it was really weird. I am going somewhere with this. But this guy was on a video on YouTube. It was somebody had done a video for free, happened to just mention that they had something for sale on it, but the whole video was for free. The whole video was great value, great information, personal experiences. I thought that, and everybody in the comments was just like, oh, this is a great video. Thank you so much. It was so helpful. And there was this one guy who just was completely like, almost you were wondering, like, what video are you watching? He's like, it's just like his self-concept or his self-awareness or any awareness he had was completely, like, it really made me realize how he was seeing this video and how other people were seeing that video. And he was seeing that video as like, this guy was like a gold digger and didn't give away any information for free and wanted to be paid to see what information, and there were people like him who couldn't afford to eat, and people like you are stealing from us and things like that. It was horrendous. I just wanted to send this guy some love, and I was just saying, like, everybody, it was a manifestation video, it was a reality creation video. So it was just, I said to him, like, everybody is creating their own path, and whatever they choose to do to make a living, it's still a manifestation. It's not, if people are giving you their money and they're buying things from you because they want to learn from you, that's just a choice of occupation. That's not stealing from anyone. Anyway, I got a complete attack. And I thought to myself, oh, that's really weird. Anyway, it reminded me about awareness, about how the exact same thing can be in front of you, but you can see it and interpret it so differently. And he got this like posse of followers who were all in the same situation as him, all agreeing with him. And then there was these other people that were like, no, don't you see what you're doing? Like, if you tell yourself you're poor, you're going to keep being poor and things like that. It was really, really weird. Anyway, so that happened. And then as I was gunning up this morning, I was saying to myself, oh, like, this morning mindset idea will come to me. It always does. I have this clear assumption. I'll always know what to talk about. And then it started getting a bit later, and I thought, still haven't got it. But I know everything always comes on time. It always comes on. And then as it was getting closer to the time, to do the morning mindset, I went into, okay, I'm going to have to step in, you know, like, and I started like, okay, like think about what experiences I've had over this last week, or think about what I've been doing over this last week, or think about next week and what we're doing next week. Next week, by the way, is our client, claiming clients challenge / workshop, which is going to be amazing. I'm going to give you everything I do basically when I want a client, and pretty much most of the time anyway, but it's going to be really valuable for you guys. So I started thinking, oh, maybe I should do something on that, and I'm like, no, that's next week. So it was just like this really weird kind of like, and as the time was getting closer, I started to feel like more and more upsetness, that and I had to take a moment. And I was like, oh my good God, Michelle. I was looking in books and thinking, what do I talk about? You know, this isn't coming to me. And I just thought, oh my God, that's why. Because you started saying, well, this is not right. This is not coming to me. Now I have to take over. Now I have to figure it out myself. And that led me to literally 3 minutes before the morning mindset. And I was just like, oh. Because this is what I talk about constantly. And, you know, I'm going to say to you, I do it to myself too. No one's perfect at this stuff. Even the grace manifestors, like, you know, and all these gurus online who talk about this stuff, even Neville Goddard, you know, and things like that. We're all still in this human body. So definitely give yourselves a break if you are beating yourself up over I don't have my manifestation yet. And I think that's the clear thing that we need to think about. And it's funny because I was listening to a story from a guy just earlier this week who had a very similar thing, where he had a great client and he was talking to this client, and this client says, oh yeah, what else can we do together? And he said, oh, I'll think about it and things. And he went back to this client and he said, I've got this perfect idea for a package, and I really want to, you know, do this with you. And the client was like, okay, you know, make me a proposal. So he did the proposal, and the client was like, great, I'll take a look. And then it was like tumbleweeds. And this guy was like, yeah, it's fine, you know, like everything's gonna be fine. Just, you know, give it good meaning. He's just looking at it. He's probably a bit busy, blah, blah, blah. And it just kept getting further and further on. I think it'd been about, and he'd reached out to the guy and said, oh, hi, just checking you got the proposal. There was no response. So again, he was like getting that resistance, that kind of like, oh, you know, like, and that is the attachment. I got attached to having the topic today. I didn't just let it go knowing. I started to see it wasn't there, and there was this time crunch to it. And I started to realize it's not there. I've got to step in and do something about this. You know, like, how can I step in front of myself like that? Because it's all got to come from me. So that's what it was. And the more you do that, the more you will block your manifestation. So all I can say to you is I listened to this video, and this guy said he was getting so attached to this. He hadn't heard back from the client. He actually really needed the money to come in. And he really needed, you know, that sale. So he became very attached to it because he became very needy for it. And it was getting closer and closer. Anyway, it was coming up, I think, to his birthday. And he said, you know what, I'm just going to forget this. I'm going to go and have a great birthday with my family or whatever like that. So he said, he decided there and then he wasn't going to think about that contract and that proposal and everything like that again. And he had a brilliant birthday. He let it all go, just went off, enjoyed himself, you know, did whatever. And then he said he was in bed with his wife that night. And, you know, he said, like, that was a really fantastic day. He's like, you know, he completely detached himself from everything, let it go, had fun, enjoyed himself. And he said, as he was going to sleep at night, he was thinking to himself, actually, I don't need that contract. You know, other things will be there. Other money will come in. Everything will be fine. I don't need it. Let it go. And he woke up the next day to a notification on his phone with the money transferred into his bank account. Why? Because he let it go. He just submitted. And that's what we're going to be talking about this week in this topic. We are talking about letting go. I talk a lot about, you know, who you're being, and I feel like sometimes it's a little bit of overload because it's constantly saying the same thing, but sometimes we're overthinking it too much, and you don't have to. The most important thing is this detachment. Now, how do you go from wanting something so much to detaching from it? Well, it's that knowing, it's that state of being. Like, I know it will be there. If you know something will be there, you get excited about it coming, but you don't get nervous about it not being there. Like, I was starting to get nervous about the topic today until it got to 2 minutes, and I was just like, forget it. And I was like, oh God, that's what I need to talk about. so it's down to the wire. But in the end, we're still sitting here now, and I have a topic to talk about this week. So today is really about being still. It's about if you find yourself, you know, like, yes, I'm detaching, I'm doing this and this, you know, like that comment from that guy. I mean, all the indicators I've heard or seen or experienced this week have all led me to this moment, and I didn't quite see it before, but they were led me to this moment of understanding that the importance of communicating the letting go part. You know, we can do all these, you know, like visualizations and stuff like that. I do this stuff because I love it, and that's the most important thing. You should never do any techniques or any visualizations, and we're going to talk about this next week in the Claiming Clients workshop. We're going to talk about things that you can do, very simple things, very brief things, very quick things that you can do. But you don't have to do them to get anything. They're just tools to help you get more into the frame of mind, to help you focus more on the things that you're creating. But we're doing it all the time. You're doing it right now without even thinking about it. We are creating and manifesting all the time. This is just switching to a more intentional process. But at the same time, when you are intentionally manifesting, you really do have to learn to let go. You know, and I talked last week about the gratitude side of things and letting go from a place of, you know, knowing it's done and being grateful for that it's there, and you know it's there, you know. But sometimes even that can be a struggle, and sometimes you just need to be still. Like, sit there and just go within and take a few deep breaths and just tell yourself everything is okay. One of the big things about this, about life, about living life, one tool, one skill that is really important for you to learn is to self-soothe. I know that that's like a term that is used amongst kids and things like that, you know, like some of these nannies who say just put the kid in a cot and leave them alone. But it, you know, as an adult, to be able to self-soothe is such an important skill, because when you are feeling that pull, that like nervousness or that neediness, then it's really important to know that you can just stop. And you have to learn to do that. And even if it's just stop wherever you are, obviously if you're not driving a car, pull over and just close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and say, everything's okay. Like, be present in that moment, be still. Don't think about anything, don't do anything, don't, you know, it's not about what you've got to strive for or struggle for or wait for or look for or anything like that. Just be still. And as soon as you be still, and then you realize, actually, this isn't so important. This isn't something that is life or death. You know, this isn't so. Most of our problems, 99.9% of them, are not life and death problems, right? So therefore, we shouldn't be getting so anxious and worried about it, and, you know, like all this stuff. bills and money and arguments with a spouse and problems with the kids and things like that, everything is coming from you. So therefore there needs to be this moment of complete trust, complete stillness, to know that you don't have to constantly be controlling everything and doing everything 24 hours a day. As soon as I did that before this call, immediately I knew what to say. I quickly made the graphic, quickly posted it up everywhere, and here we are talking about it now. So important. And like I say, these things that I've shared with you, these stories, these experiences of observing other people and what they're bringing into their awareness by what they're assuming. Even one guy said to me, I tried to help this guy. I was like super helpful with this guy on this comment. I'm saying, I suggest you do this. And I said, loads of information is available freely. Everyone can access it. And he's like, oh, and I suppose I have to pay you to access the information. I'm like, you're on a free YouTube video. I thought that would be obvious, but clearly it wasn't. He was on a free, very helpful, informative YouTube video that actually was the answer to his problem, but he refused to see it because he was being the person who was the victim of life. And everyone's out to get him, and nothing is free, and you have to pay for everything. And, there are people out, the rich people are making the poor people suffer and stuff like that. Whoa, it was mind-blowing to see that. It was mind-blowing to see, like, oh my, you can't see I'm trying to help you, and I've not asked you for anything, but you're assuming there's no help and it's all expensive and nobody gets anything for free. Well, yeah, that's why you're so bitter and upset, you poor man. And it's funny because he'll say this, his handle or something was pack rat something, and he basically went around parks metal detecting. And I just thought, God, if you changed your mindset, you could do really well. Anyway, that's another story. My point is, today we need to look at taking a break. We need to look at, okay, next week we're going to have a whole thing on techniques and things like that, but you also need to understand that taking a break, being still, being present in the moment, taking some deep breaths, saying everything is fine, I don't have to figure this out, what am I trying to do to myself here, is important. Mia, I just want to share that everything is unfolding to me as well, and I think because I'm still working during the day, I am unconsciously detached, but I'm watching your morning mindset every morning, FYI, thank you so much. And every day I'm getting new ideas and I see myself evolving in my concept. It's amazing, really. It is, because you have chosen that for yourself. A lot of people do not understand that when they choose something for themselves within their I am successful, I am abundant, I am wealthy, I'm healthy. Once you choose it, it's done. The only person that can undo it is you when you say, oh, but I can't see it, so it's not real. But the outside is a reflection of you right now. So keep working on that reflection. Keep staying in the I am, and then the outside will change, like the mirror that we've talked about before. If you're looking in the mirror and you are frowning, you will see somebody staring back at you that's frowning. If you are looking in the mirror and smiling, you will be smiling, but you have to take the action to change yourself, to change what you see. You have to take that action, and it can only come from within you. But also I want to know that by doing, like, my manifestations come quickest from doing absolutely nothing and thinking about it. And like I say, like, I'm 2 minutes on the line here and like, ding, I was like, no, I am doing this to myself. I'm sorry, I'll sit and wait for it. It'll be fine. And here we are. Mia, I'm so happy that you feel that this is evolving for you. That's your creation, by the way. That's because you have decided it's going to start evolving for you. And just stay in that space. No matter what is happening on the outside, no matter what problems are arising, no matter how difficult things seem, just know everything is working out. everything is working out perfectly. Everything is working out on time. We've talked about this many times. And if you can just hold that space and go back into it by being still, by just taking those breaths, by saying things to yourself that feel good, that feel nurturing, that feel calming, you know, like that feel like, okay, this is not yours to figure out. You know, your higher self will always be there for you, will always be there to guide you, as long as you allow that to happen and don't try and do all 3D and take over everything. Okay, guys, so that's the first installment of the taking a break topic today. We'll be talking about another thing tomorrow. I'll also try and bring in a few stories of things that have happened this week. A lot has happened this week, and it's been a lot of like kind of like ups and downs and turbulence, but I think that turbulence is happening around me right now, so we can talk about this and really kind of unpack how to deal with it. So I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Thanks for joining me on this fine Sunday, and have a beautiful rest of the weekend, and we will do our accountability right now, and I shall see you back here on Monday. Take care, guys, and thank you so much for being here. Before we begin, don't forget you can join me live online inside Virtual CoWorking Space at www.virtualmissfriday.com/VCS. If you enjoy this session, give it a like. I'd love to hear from you, so write me a comment. And so you don't miss any updates, don't forget to subscribe. Let's begin. So now we're going to look for the positive with our gratitude. First, we'll spend 1 minute thinking of the day before, thinking of all the things that happened, reflecting on work, interactions, relationships, memorable moments, and more. Now you'll write one thing down minimum that you're grateful for. You can, of course, write down more. Something good, something that went right, a small moment or a big win. The more you search for things to be grateful for, the more you will experience things to be grateful for. Now we're going to read out your goal. Make sure your goal is written down in a journal or somewhere you can easily access it. Read your goal now, ideally out loud, and commit to this goal. Believe it will happen. And by reading this daily, the universe knows clearly what your goal is, and the things begin to shift in the direction of your goal. Follow your instincts when this happens by taking action. Now you need to see your goal in visualization. Spend this minute thinking about the goal in your mind. See yourself taking steps towards the goal, or even better still, see yourself having already achieved the goal. Close your eyes and go there. Step into the feeling, step into the place, step into the accomplishment. And finally, it's time for your most important task.
set this task for today and make it relating to your goal. This could be something small like sending an email, recording a video, or making a phone call, or it could be bigger. Either way, one task a day is one step forward, and those steps will add up. Do what you can from where you are now. Set the intention, and the action will carry you towards your goal. Well done you for completing your daily co-create session. Have a fantastic day ahead, and I'll see you next time.